We provide you with the lowest per GB rates, night or day. SLT 4G, driving you ever forward.
The Cardinal to the defence. His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith denounces international community's efforts to ill-portray Sri Lanka.
In order to say that Sri Lanka is an intolerant society or Buddhism is intolerant is a seriously misconstrued allegation.
Where are the defenders of democracy? Opposition leader criticises the Tamil National Alliance over selective democracy. Lone Ranger.
Oh, one of the great innings, when your team's down and out, you're having to get out there and do it on your own.
Sri Lanka loses the one-day decider with New Zealand.
To be looked at as a team.
I want the wall. US President Donald Trump mulling the declaration of a national emergency to build the border wall with Mexico. All that and much more coming up on First at 9 this Saturday, the 5th of January 2019.
මේ උත්සව සමයේ ස්මාර්ට් ඇන්ඩ්‍රොයිඩ් තාක්ෂණයෙන් එන සිංග විස්ටා TV එකක් මිලදී ගන්නා ඔබට හිත පිරෙන්න වාසි රැසක් ඕනෑම සිංග ප්‍රදර්ශනාගාරයකින්.
From Ada Derana, this is Ada Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamma Kanayaka. Now let's start you off with the local stories. Now, the international community, especially the West, often depicts Sri Lanka as a nation where minority persecution is rife. Quite surprisingly, those who contribute to such defamatory and quite misleading reports have never set foot in Sri Lanka and are often paid servants of various organizations with agendas which are not necessarily in the best interest of Sri Lanka. Some incidents from last year, which were labelled communal violence, are now being unravelled, and those occurrences are now discovered to be incited with political agendas. In this backdrop, Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith denounces calls by the international community which call Sri Lanka an intolerant society and portray Buddhism in a light, more of a negative light rather. Speaking at the launch of the book Anjali Karaniyo, written in English by Indian author Charles Siddiqui today on the life of Venerable Banagala Upatishathera. To mark the Thera's 60th birth anniversary, His Eminence affirmed that Sri Lanka is a sovereign, free and independent nation who only wish to live in peace and harmony.
It's very sad that at the world level, sometimes there are efforts made in order to portray our country as a place where we don't have religious tolerance and acceptance. Very specially, allegations are made against the majority community vis-à-vis the minorities. But where we are together, at times we find that there are differences. Differences are normal, but these differences do not necessarily mean that we fight each other. So to interpret the differences and little frictions that we may have when we live together as friends in any place, you have these little frictions that happen here and there due to misunderstandings. Don't tell me that in these other countries there are no such frictions and differences and problems. So to interpret these things in order to say that Sri Lanka is an intolerant society or Buddhism is intolerant is a seriously misconstrued allegation which we cannot accept. Don't aim these criticisms at our country because we are a sovereign, free, independent country. We want to live in peace and harmony with everyone.
Now, the Theravada Tripitaka, considered as the foundation and source of Buddhism in Sri Lanka, which holds valuable teachings of Lord Buddha, is now declared a national heritage. The declaration was made at a special ceremony at the Aluvihare temple in Matale today. The initiative came to fruition under the guidance of members of Mahasangha with the leadership of President Maithripala Sirisena. Speaking at the event today, the President revealed that he will seek approval from the United Nations to declare the Tripitaka a UNESCO World Heritage in the near future.
A special ceremony to officially declare the Tripitaka as the national heritage was held at Aluvihare temple in Matale today. The ceremony was held under the auspices of the Mahasangha of the three sects and President Maithripala Sirisena. A ceremonial plaque was unveiled by the President at an auspicious time declaring the Tripitaka a national heritage.
ත්‍රිපිටකයේ ජාතික උරුමයක් ලෙස ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කිරීමේ ස්වර්ණමය අවස්ථාවද
The national ceremony was held following religious observances.
සන්නස්පත්‍ර නිලමේ වරුන් විසින්
Thereafter, a document officially declaring the Tripitaka a national heritage was presented to Mahasangha of the three sects.
අතිපූජ්‍ය වරකගොඩ ධම්මසිද්ධි ශ්‍රී පඤ්ඤානන්ද ඥානරතනාභිදාන මහානායක ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේට අතිපූජ්‍ය අවසරයි නියංගොඩ විජිත සිරි අනුනායක ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේට අතිපූජ්‍ය කොඩගොඩ ධම්මාවාස මහානායක ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේට
The Tripitaka is seen as a guiding force that includes religious values and leadership that brings about economy, society and culture that is bountiful. This has been witnessed throughout Sri Lanka's history. There were surprising statements being expressed. Religion is being misinterpreted and criticized. However, we're happy that the government has brought about stability in that aspect. This is not only a national heritage, but a world heritage as well. There is no philosophy that can be compared to Buddhism anywhere in the world.
A stamp commemorating the historic occasion was also issued during the event.
හිකම්බමින් මෙම සමරු මුද්දරය නිකුත් කිරීම සිදු කරනවා. මෙරට ජනාධිපති වාශ
By declaring the Tripitaka a national heritage with the powers vested to me as the President, we will be able to protect it from those who have misinterpreted and misconstrued its meaning through various translations. There are institutions who do not have proper understanding of Pali who translate the Tripitaka. We have also seen various interpretations being given on social media and websites. Therefore, as it is now a national heritage, no person or institution can translate it or edit it without obtaining permission from the government. From today, the government will seek to give a declaration to the United Nations seeking to recognize the Tripitaka as a UNESCO World Heritage in the future.
එක්සත් ජාතීන්ගේ සංවිධානයේ ප්‍රකාශයක් ලබා ගැනීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වන බව මා මෙහිදී ඔබ වහන්සේලාට සඳහන් කරන්නට කැමැතියි.
Everything one way or the other is collective to politics, so here we are. Today, of course, the leader of the opposition doesn't see the government burdening the public with taxes through the next budget document. Now, following a religious event in Kotiyakumbura of KO yesterday, the opposition leader stressed that with elections in the horizon, the government will use concessions as the carrot, but the public may be wiser to it. He was also critical of the Tamil National Alliance's selective democracy. They're asking for a presidential election, but we say that a general election should be held first. How long has it been since the dissolution of provincial councils in the north and east? Sumandiran and Sambandhan are vociferous about establishing a federal state, but they have lost the provincial councils due to not having an election in years. The government is not concerned about it. We stress the government to increase wages and grant concessions to the public through the budget. No, they will not increase taxes around this time. In fact, they will grant concessions to people by reducing taxes. They're of the view that the public will be fooled by it and vote for them, and they can increase taxes through the next budget. They will not be able to do so because it will be us who will come to power.
In the meantime, addressing a public gathering in Kurunegala today, the opposition leader also touched on the present regime's treatment of media.
It is unpredictable how the media will be treated in another few days. The government stopped state advertisements for Hiru TV network and Derana TV. We predicted these actions of the government. Is this democracy? The biggest challenge we faced was to break the two-thirds majority the Ranil Maitri government had. If not for that, the new constitution would have been passed. Now, former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, who is the national organiser of the party Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, was widely credited with the success enjoyed by the SLPP during the local authorities election. With all prominent political parties admitting an election is on the horizon, the only question which remains to be is which it might be. Now, whatever it may be, Basil Rajapaksa seems to be playing an attractive role in the matters, saying that 29 political parties and organisations have agreed to lend a hand to the SLPP. His comments came in response to questions raised by media at an event in Minuwangoda today. Yes, we are. At present, Podujana Peramuna is the only proactive party of the country. By now, 29 parties and organisations are ready to join hands with us. Not at all. I'm a member of the SLPP. I gave up on SLFP back in January of 2015. I'm not disappointed, but I created another party and the public voted for this party on the 10th of February. Our candidate is Mahinda Rajapaksa, but he is rendered unable to contest. So we have vested him with the power to nominate a suitable candidate. There is a possibility of the establishment of an alliance under the leadership of the union of Mahinda Rajapaksa and President Maithripala Sirisena before the end of this month. Thousands of people, including myself, have lost faith in the United National Party due to the unjust treatment we received under the leadership of Ranil Wickremesinghe. Now, staying with politics, Minister of Public Administration and Disaster Management, RM Ranjit Madhumabandara, says that they will be requesting the President to increase the number of cabinet ministerial positions to 35. Meanwhile, speaking to media today, Sports Minister Haran Fernando stated that MP Manusha Nanakara is now working as a Deputy Minister in his ministry, although it is not an official appointment. Our government had three parties, which consisted of the United National Front, Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress. Only one party has left the government, with the other two parties still remaining. We have sought the advice of the Attorney General regarding this matter in order to request that the Cabinet of Ministers be increased to 35. He is working at my office. We will not dance to the tune of other people. We will work according to the way we want to. All this time we were trying to work according to good governance, but now it is about politics. Therefore, we are not scared, and if the President is blocking us in certain ways, then we will have to find other ways so we can work together. Therefore, I have given Manusha Nanakara duties of a Deputy Minister, although it is not given as an official appointment. Now, with the Colombo port city and all the other things popping up all over Colombo, it is rather bustling now with the administrative city concept, that is, the Battaramul area is going to be more congested in the coming years. With these developments, transport has always been a major issue in Colombo city, and especially since the Malabi-Colombo route does not have a rail connectivity to Colombo, the issue is aggravated. As a solution, the Japan International Cooperation Agency has agreed to provide Sri Lanka $1.85 billion loan, by way of loan that is, to construct a light rail system.
Out of the 7 corridors to Colombo from various suburbs, the most congested corridor is the Malabi-Colombo route, and during peak hours, the speed of traffic comes down to a relative snail's pace to around 10 kilometers per hour. Thus, the project proposal for Colombo Light Rail Transit System was approved by the Cabinet last week. Since light rail is driven by electricity, no emission is made, helping sustainable development. 16 stations are supposed to be established along the track, and there will be about 25 trains altogether. A train will generally take 30 minutes to arrive at Peta, with one train stopping at one station for 30 seconds.
So this is financed by the Japan International Cooperation Agency. It's very important to see the interest rate. The interest rate for this loan is 0.1%. 1% per annum, so it is a very, very low interest rate, and we will have grace period of 12 years, and the repayment is 40 years. The cost per ticket, which is very important to the general public, it is less than 100 rupees from Chandrika Kumaratunga Mawatha to the Colombo Fort. Since the cabinet has given the approval for signing the loan, we are planning to sign the loan within this. Since we have made all other arrangements ready by now, we have got the concurrence from the JICA as well by now. So with the concurrence from the Attorney General's Department, we hope that we can sign the loan within this month. At the same time, we went ahead with the procurement process of the consultant for the detailed design and construction supervision. As per the guidelines or the conditions of this loan, we have to spend 30% of this loan on procuring things from Japan, and at the same time it is a tied loan, so there are some conditions where the contractor should be Japanese or a joint venture of Japanese and Sri Lankan contractors. With the procurement process completed, and even we got the recommendation from the cabinet appointed consultancy procurement committee, by 2019 end we can complete the preparation of bidding documents as well as the final design to go ahead with the tendering of the other packages. So we hope that we can commence the construction in the ground we will be little deviate from the original plan, but it will be about a small delay, but we can complete the construction of the project by end of 2024, enabling commercial operation thereafter.
Now, deaths and injuries caused by traffic-related accidents continue to be a serious global problem. The World Health Organization puts the number of deaths on the world's roads at a staggering 1.35 million people each year. Reporting as well as reading about deaths caused by traffic-related incidents have become such a common occurrence that people, to a degree, have become rather desensitized to such tragedies. That itself gives the matter great seriousness. Here in Sri Lanka, road accidents are definitely a cause of concern, with the National Security or National Council for Road Safety estimating one death every 3 hours.
Recently, the World Health Organization published its 2018 Global Status Report on Road Safety. So what does the numbers say? The number of road traffic deaths continue to climb, reaching a high of 1.35 million in 2016. But despite the increase in absolute numbers, the rate of road traffic deaths has remained fairly constant at around 18 deaths per 100,000 population over the last 15 years.
However, there are still concerns as motor traffic accidents become the 8th leading cause of death of all age groups around the world, even surpassing deaths resulting from HIV/AIDS to tuberculosis. The World Health Organization says that countries like Sri Lanka, which are developing countries, have taken measures to somewhat curtail traffic accidents. However, every day 7 to 8 people die on the road owing to motor traffic accidents, with 51% of them being owing to three-wheelers as well as motorcycles.
For Sri Lanka, data from the report depict an increasing trend in road accidents, with over 3,000 deaths reported last year alone. So what is the cost of traffic accidents?
So if we take the statistics the annual statistics, it is 3,000 approximately. 3,000 persons are killed in road traffic accidents. If we calculate the cost for one death, for the investigation, for the inquest, for the post-mortem, for the court procedure, it is 1 million Sri Lankan rupees. So if 3,000 accidents are reported annually, the cost is 3,000 million. It is 3 billion.
Therefore, it is reasonable to question if motor traffic accidents are preventable, or is it, as the traffic police defines it, an undecided or unintended happening. Speaking exclusively to First at 9, co-author of the Global Status Report on Road Safety 2018, published by the World Health Organization, Dr. Nan Tran says that it is in fact a system issue.
Because people think that crashes are just accidents and nobody intends to get into a crash, they don't invest in preventing them, and I don't think they take them seriously enough. Road safety is really a systems issue. It means that we have to improve the infrastructure. It means that we have to improve the access to emergency care. It means that we have to have ambulances. It can't just be the Ministry of Transport saying, or the Ministry of Interior or Police saying, we're going to enforce more laws. It has to be something that is coordinated across multiple ministries, multiple sectors. And it also requires engagement with the private sector as well.
So what is Sri Lanka's target in reducing road accidents?
So every year, the 2,000 families collect into our society after the father's death on the road, and this is another social challenge for that country. This is, I think, more big challenge to us compared to the war season in the last 30 years period. Our target is end of the December 2020, we want to reduce it up to the 5%. 2030, our target is going to the 50% reduction of the road accidents and the fatal cases.
Sri Lanka is one of 104 countries that fail to meet all 8 UN vehicle safety standards, and lack of accurate data too proves a significant challenge to not only international organizations such as the WHO but also to the government, with the country not having an eligible death registration data. Therefore, it is evident that more work needs to be done if Sri Lanka is to achieve progress to meet SDG target 3.6 to reduce road traffic deaths by 50% by 2020 before it is too late.
We're going to move in for a short commercial break. Stay tuned because we got business news on the other side.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back. You are watching First at 9. Now, Ajit Niwad Kabral, who was the governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka during the period from July 2006 to January of 2015, recently stated that the Sri Lankan rupee will likely end up depreciating to the level of 200 rupees against the US dollar by April 2019. However, during a recent briefing at the Central Bank, incumbent governor Dr. Indrajit Coomaraswamy, responding to the statement, said that Sri Lanka has become a twin deficit country due to poor economic policies of the past, and that such a fall of the rupee cannot be predicted. He said that macroeconomic fundamentals to curb the situation is a must at this juncture.
Yeah, the former governor has said that the dollar will go up to 200 rupees by April. What do you think about it?
One thing is, it's very difficult to predict or forecast what's going to happen to the dollar. I would be very disappointed if it did. So really, I told you we are a twin deficit country, and we have become a twin deficit country because of poor policies over a number of years. This didn't happen yesterday, day before. Over a number of years, there have been very poorly judged, poorly conceived policies. That's what has got us to where we are. So what really, all that we can do now is essentially, it's a holding operation. What we are trying to do is have good policies, on the back of that raise money and meet our obligations and give ourselves time to increase FDI and exports. That is the way you get out of it. But that is not going to happen tomorrow, day after. But in order to give ourselves time to do that, we have to have very sound macroeconomic fundamentals which enables us to raise the money we need to buy that time. So that is what's really happening now.
The governor also commented on the developments of the fuel pricing formula.
It may be adjusted, but the basic principle is to have full cost pricing. And now how you achieve that, whether it's through a formula or something else, there are various ways of doing that. But my understanding is that we have not moved away from full cost pricing, even during those 6-7 years when we had a different dispensation. They said they don't want a formula, but they didn't say they're moving away from full cost pricing.
Now, Iran and the United States have never enjoyed cordial relations. That is no secret. Now, with the US constantly accusing Iran of enriching uranium for its nuclear projects. The United States withdrew from the nuclear deal with Iran last year and snapped sanctions in place to choke Iran's oil banking industries while temporarily allowing 8 customers to keep buying crude from the Islamic Republic. Now, a senior Iranian energy official says that all countries that were granted waivers from the United States to continue buying certain amounts of Iranian imports are complying with US sanctions, noting that Tehran was hopeful to find new buyers.
All countries that were granted waivers from the United States to continue buying a certain amount of Iranian oil imports are complying with US sanctions, a senior Iranian energy official said, noting that Tehran was hopeful to find new buyers. The United States withdrew from a nuclear deal with Iran last year and snapped sanctions in place to choke Iran's oil and banking industries, while temporarily allowing 8 customers to keep buying crude from the Islamic Republic. Iran's Deputy Oil Minister for Trade and International Affairs was quoted as saying that China, India, Japan, South Korea and other countries that were granted waiver from America to import Iranian oil are not willing to buy even 1 barrel more from Iran. However, without giving details, he said that despite US pressures on Iranian oil market, the number of potential buyers of Iranian oil has significantly increased due to a competitive market, greed and pursuit of more profit. The 180-day exemption was also granted to Italy, Greece, Taiwan and Turkey. Iran has urged European countries which are still committed to the nuclear deal to oppose the sanctions by creating a financial mechanism that facilitates payments of Iranian oil sales.
Now, moving on to news from overseas, US President Donald Trump and his designs to build a wall along the border with Mexico has been a rumbling saga, with the idea drawing laughter from many parties, while some expressing dismay, while others with nationalistic views seem to be all for it. Now, Trump and the US Congress have been at odds over funding for the wall, and the standoff has seen Trump withhold support for a bill to fully fund the government until he gets money for the border wall. This means around 800,000 federal workers have been without pay since the 22nd of December. Now, Trump nevertheless continues to be defiant over the US-Mexico border wall, saying he could declare a national emergency to build it without the approval of the Congress.
President Donald Trump and senior Democrats failed to strike a deal in talks yesterday to end a partial shutdown of the U.S. government as they again fought over Trump's request for $5 billion to fund his signature wall on the Mexican border. After Democratic congressional leaders turned down Trump at a meeting in the White House Situation Room, the Republican president threatened to take the controversial step of using emergency powers to build a wall without approval from Congress.
That the shutdown could go on for months or even a year or longer. Did you say that? And
I
is
did.
that your?
I did.
Is that your assessment of where we are?
That. Absolutely, I said that. I don't think it will, but I am prepared, and I think I can speak for Republicans in the House and Republicans in the Senate. They feel very strongly about having a safe country, having a border that makes sense. Without borders, I've said it many times, we don't have a country. I hope it doesn't go on even beyond a few more days. It really could open very quickly.
So you don't need congressional approval to build the wall?
No, we can use them, absolutely. We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country. I may do it, but we can call a national emergency and build it very quickly, and it's another way of doing it. But if we can do it through a negotiated process, we're giving that a shot.
So is that a threat hanging over the Democrats?
I never threaten anybody. You can't impeach somebody that's doing a great job. That's the way I view it. I've probably done more in the first 2 years than any president, any administration in the history of our country.
Well, now here's a question. What's the most amount of money you ever paid for a fish at a fish market? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's not going to be $1 million. But that said, a Japanese restaurant owner paid over 3 times that for a bluefin tuna at Tokyo's new fish market, setting a New Year record.
A Japanese restaurant chain paid over $3 million, equivalent to 336.6 million yen today, in a record New Year auction at Tokyo's new fish market. Kiyoshi Kimura, the owner of the Shushizanmai restaurant chain, told reporters after the auction that the tuna looked so tasty and very fresh, but he thought he did too much. The price Kumura paid for the 278-kilogram bluefin tuna caught off the coast of Japan's Aomori prefecture is double the price he had paid 6 years ago. In 2013, he set a record for buying a tuna at $1.7 million. Shortly after the auction, the record-breaking tuna was transported to one of the sushi chain's outlets located in Tsukiji, the old fish market. Today's auction was the first New Year bid of the new Toyosu market after the iconic Tsukiji fish market was closed to make way to provide temporary parking for the Tokyo 2020 Summer Olympics. Tuna is prized around the world for its use in sushi, but experts warn growing demand has made it an endangered species.
Well, if you didn't really know, Sri Lanka took on New Zealand today, and we're going to bring you news of that right after this break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Well, although we lost, it was great fun watching. Now that's it from First at 9, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.